Hi, welcome to the HeartWorking Dad Podcast. I am your host, Gabriel Perez. And in this episode, we have Ned Schaut back on the podcast. He is a TEDx speaker. He is the author of The Adventure of Fatherhood. He's married 19 years. He has 5 kids. And he has a podcast called Rebel and Create, in which he talks fatherhood with awesome fathers all around the world. Ned, welcome back. Thank you for being here.
Dude, pleasure's all mine, man.
All right, so we're going to jump right into it because you've been here. What have you had to work on in your heart, either as a father or a husband, to better lead your family?
Selfishness, man.
Ooh.
Selfishness. It's wild. I mean, if somebody could show me a tape of my day from yesterday, I bet you 90% of my day I'm thinking about myself. Mm-hmm. I mean, even if you were to watch, oh, you made this decision to not do this thing last night. This is true, right? Not do this thing. And you drove to go see your daughter play volleyball because it mattered a lot to her and stuff. But how much of that time was I still wrestling in my head of thinking about what I wanted to be doing? Not begrudgingly, but solving my own problems, working on my own projects. So I would say the constant reminder that not just I don't just want my actions to say that I'm a good dad, but I want my heart and my mind to follow suit.
Yeah.
And I think sometimes that's the struggle is if you were to look at me, you'd be like, that's a great husband and father. And my actions would line up, but I also want my heart and my mind to fully embrace that as well, That
is so powerful, and it's hitting me, it's convicting me, because yes, and I feel better that I'm not alone in selfishness. That is exactly how I think. You nailed it. On the outside, we can look great, but on the inside, if you were to see what's going on in my heart, there's a wrestling ground of selfishness, pride, whatever. But yeah, thinking of myself.
Dude, I'm going to share one other little thing with you because this has been massive for me. If you were to put me up against all my buddies, all my neighborhood, whatever, you'd say, man, Ned is a great husband. The last maybe 6 years, I track a lot of my time, but last year I tracked my time with my wife, but specifically intentional time. And at the end of the year, I looked at the numbers and it was I spent 2% of my time with my wife, intentional.
Wow.
And I looked at that, I'm like, oh my gosh, I would have told you it was 10, 15%.
Yeah.
You look at my fitness time, it's a higher percentage for sure. And so I say that because, guys, if we can have metrics around the things that we say are most important to us, and then we can reflect on it, you can literally transform your life. My marriage has boomed in some ways I didn't think about it the last 90 days because I've been paying attention to that weekly and making sure that I'm getting intentional time together.
Yeah. Wow. What did you count as intentional time?
Oh, that's an awesome question. So I started years ago with tracking my work hours, right? And then I'd start tracking work, fitness, and then start tracking whatever. So just Google Sheets. I mean, I've got Google Sheets from, month 2021, all the way through. So intentional time. So if I'm like, hey, babe, can we go grab a coffee tomorrow morning? Or, hey, can we just snag 15 minutes and go walk to the beach or go sit in the backyard? And so that's what I would count as intentional time. Is it wasn't working on a kid thing. Mm-hmm. It was us connecting and also not working on hey, are we going to paint this room or something? Now that conversation might come up if that's important to her, but a lot of times I'm coming okay, let's look at the calendar together for a half hour and plan the next 90 days. That's not intentional time. It's connection. So it comes back to, is my intention with this time to connect with my wife, not solve a problem? There you go. I never said that out loud, but I think that's it.
That's quote worthy right there. That's beautiful, dude. So how would you challenge, or let's start with the encouragement. How would you encourage a father to be intentional in connecting and connecting with his kids and not being selfish?
Oh man. Okay. So this is something that I've been thinking a lot about. I think the opportunity of a father, well, 2 things. One is know your power. So when you walk into the house, you have an energy power. You can bring the house up, you can bring the house down. I mean, moms could do the same thing, but like you hear dad's almost home. So if dad's almost home, does that mean everybody needs to look busy, walk on eggshells? Or does that mean that this guy's coming who wants to hear about your day and who's excited to see you and who left all his problems at the door? I'll tell you, I'm still and will probably always be working on that. So just know that you have significant power in the energy you bring in your home. But here's one of the greatest gifts dads have. The greatest gift or a great gift we have is to create space. Now, I think for many years, I would try to fill the space with like, tonight we're going to do whatever, right? And then it's like, okay, at 5 o'clock, we're supposed to start game night. And if it's 5:05, I'm irritated because I wanted to start it at 5. It's just how I am.
Classic dad.
But I think, but I think that as a dad, sometimes don't worry about what you're doing in that time slot. Just create this space like, hey guys, we're going to go to the beach and then see what happens. We're going to go on a hike, and then don't be in such a hurry to like make it to the destination, right? Like we're hiking to this waterfall. Like how many dads are walking at freaking speed of light to get to the waterfall wherever, and they're missing the journey. And I think that's like metaphorical, right? As I say it too. But how often, dude, are we just going so fast that we're not living in that space? So the challenge or the encouragement is to create space and then see what happens in that space.
Yeah. No, that's awesome. That's awesome. I think that you gave the encouragement and the challenge in that answer, really, because
yeah, probably.
No, but it was great. It was perfect. And have you ever read The Alchemist?
I haven't, but I've heard of it many times. It's a really great book.
Such a great book. And you just reminded me of the story that the illustrated. There was this wise man who had a huge house, and he told the boy, he goes, take this spoon, fill it with something, and go walk and look at my house, but don't spill any of the liquid. And so he did, but he goes, did you notice my room right here? And he goes, no. He goes, because you're too focused on the liquid. And then he's like, go back and look, but don't focus on spilling the liquid. But it was a balance to do both. And
so good.
I probably butchered that story, but it made me think about it.
No, you didn't. And I mean, how often are we trying to accomplish so much as men that we may be missing the beauty of the small moments? You know, like think about when you have a little kid. Oh, when you're 5, we can do this. Oh, when you're 10, we can do this. Instead of like, what can we do right now? How can we just be together and connected right now? Yeah.
The present. That is the important thing. Because
and it's tough, dude. It's tough. It's tough.
It's a total rethinking of our natural way that our brains go as men, as dads. And it is tough. It's a battle.
But to live in the tension, right? So the challenge is to live in the tension. And I kind of think as a father, you have the opportunity, like I like to think about it as like you're the captain of the ship. So you can see and plan for the future. You can reflect and learn from the past, but then you gotta navigate that boat right now. Right? There's waves coming right now. How am I in tune with the crew? What does the crew need? Right? And as a father, we have a huge opportunity to be in tune with our wife, to be in tune with our kids. And one thing I've been trying to challenge myself, and I call it the doorway question, is when I walk through a doorway, ask myself, why am I here? But you could ask it in 2 ways, like, why am I here? Right? Yeah. Or, hey, why am I here? How can I be a loving father? How can I serve right now? I'm here for a reason. So how am I going to show up right now? And that goes back to that thing of like at the very beginning of, am I thinking selfishly or not? Yeah. If I walk through the door and I'm like, why am I here? I'm looking to be served. And if I ask, why am I here? I'm looking for how can I serve? Yeah.
Same question, just
same question, different motive.
Yeah. Oh man, that is awesome. Dude, this has been really encouraging for me.
Dude, it's encouraging me right now. I'm like, I hope I go live that way the rest of the
day. At least for today. That's going to be our intention, right?
That's the goal. That's the goal today.
Yeah. Before we go, do you want to give a little shout out to the Adventure of Fatherhood and talk a little bit about that?
Yeah, man, I'd love to. So I just put out this children's book really with a father in mind. I wanted a dad to hold a book that he could see himself, that he's still a wild man. He doesn't have to lose his identity, but he's called into this new role, this new name of father. And he has such a great opportunity, and so much fulfillment comes from it. And so the intention was, I wanted to create a book that when a dad held it, it would help him see who he is. When he read it to his son, it would connect him to his son. And then lastly, it would be a tool that he could use to give as a gift to new dads, to welcome them into their role, because most dads are stumbling into fatherhood. Think back to when you became a dad. Anybody listening, nobody invited you in probably. And so, I bestow upon you the opportunity, the right, the authority to be the man who invites other men into the adventure of fatherhood.
Yes, as powerful, and it is much needed.
Yeah. Love it, dude.
You, man.
Thank you.
Appreciate you. And talk next time.
Yep. Look forward to continuing to be connected to you, my friend.
Same here. Thank you.